Hey, welcome to the afternoon session. My name is Craig Sheldrup. I'm from the Network Center. Today, Nutanix is going to be presenting the Cloud Anywhere with Nutanix. The presenters, I'd like to introduce them. Ben Bykowski is an account executive for Nutanix. Ben has been with Nutanix for over 4 years and has extensive experience in data center software and cloud solutions. He's local to the region. With the home being outside the Twin Cities, please let him know if there's anything after this that you can discuss about Nutanix. The other presenter is Scott Prchal. He's an enterprise account executive at Nutanix. Scott is a senior account manager, well, account executive, it was doubled up, but that's awesome, on the Nutanix enterprise accounts team and has been a part of the region community for over 20 years, including 13 of those supporting Nutanix customers from both the partner and the OEM side of business. This is great during the winter. Scott enjoys backcountry mountain riding in the Rockies and as well fishing and motorcycling in the southern months here. As well, I think if you want to learn anything about brisket and smoking meat, he's also good at that. So I'd like to welcome the Nutanix team.
Thank you. Well, that was a great intro. Extensive experience. I like that. Thanks everybody for hopping in. I am Ben Bykowski. I have to apologize after getting a belly full of food. You're probably ready for a coma and you get to listen to a guy that sounds like a Muppet the whole time. So please raise your hands with any questions that come up. Me or Scott can help out with that. So really, and also, if we don't go for the full 40 minutes on Nutanix, we do have 101, brisket smoking. So
start with SRF game.
right there. So here, as the title of the presentation is your cloud, your data center, anywhere, your data. So really to kick things off with that is kind of starting with where did Nutanix come from? In 2009, Nutanix was created, but our founders were developers and helped create the Google Cloud. So you talk about that massive scale, software-driven infrastructure. When they were going through that and creating the Google Cloud, they're like, hey, why can't we bring this to the masses and bring it on premises for everybody else to take advantage of? So as 2009, started shipping product in 2011. So we've been around and basically credited or part of being credited for creating the hyper-converged infrastructure, or HCI category within that side. So as you can see up on, well, I can probably look down here, see on the screen, cloud is out there everywhere. We also, what a lot of people are probably running, whether it's private on-premises in your data center, maybe some cloud instances, maybe you're thinking about getting up there. But really what the solution for Nutanix, when it came to on-premise, was to kind of solve this problem, the 3-tier problem. While it's a great solution, it can be a bit complicated. You have servers, SAN, NAS, all your networking that goes within it, and there's a lot of care and feeding that needs to be going into it, updates, patching. And when you have all of that and it gets out of control, that's one of the reasons why they created the Google Cloud, is that this 3-tier couldn't scale to what they needed, is way too complex. So let's bring in software-driven kind of a pool, and that's where we call them nodes, they're servers, but within these building blocks, it's compute, storage networking, and we can scale up or out at any scale that is required within your business. The other complicated thing when we talk with customers a lot is, hey, well, we can't really lift and shift. Some people can do a full forklift. Yep, this sounds great. Let's move on with Nutanix and just start fresh. Others are like, well, this server over here was bought 2 years ago. This one's ready, coming up on refresh. So the refresh cycles or new purchasing doesn't necessarily meet up with what their procurement and lifecycle strategy is. And that's okay. Really, that's where we thrive. So you start off with one specific workload. One of the first ones we really excelled at was our VDI instance, just based off of the core architecture with everything within the building block, the compute, the storage, everything. We're extremely efficient and work very well with Citrix and Horizon View. So start with one building block or one workload and continue that transition, and you're able to grow out the Nutanix footprint. So that's kind of where I like to call our phase one was. Any questions that are popping up right now? Well, I should probably have those questions on my phone going too.
Well, he's got them as well, Ben. So
oh, you do?
I can read it out here.
Cool. Scott, did you have something?
Well, I was just going to say too, is a lot of people look at this and like, I don't know if I can be in front of the speaker well. A lot of people look at this and say, okay, I understand the stuff from the networking and the data center side. how does it work in, in public cloud? And so you use in AWS, you use the AWS networking, so stretch layer 2 across private and public. So it's not nearly as complex and once it's set up, you're good. Those instances within Azure and AWS specifically are in the same VPC that you would already have within your public cloud instance. You can use your cloud commit, spend down dollars to be able to do this as well. So if you're a big Microsoft customer, you have Azure credits that you're looking to be able to use. You can do that with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Scott. Very good fill in there. And so the other piece is, as I've mentioned early on, we're a software company. We don't make hardware. And so really for us, one of the biggest pillars is freedom of choice. That is, as you can see up here, on the hardware side, partner with Cisco, Lenovo, Dell. We have a Supermicro, our kind of own white box. Really whatever works for you. We size it out, work with you, and run the software on that. And on top of kind of the whole freedom of choice is also getting into the hypervisor layer. So whether you're running Hyper-V, whether you're running VMware, we also have our own included hypervisor as well. And the question is always like, why hypervisor? It's like the world didn't need another hypervisor. But our AHV is based off of KVM. And one of our largest customers, which is a 3-letter government word, really ran a lot of Nutanix and ran a lot of KVM. And they said, hey, can you help build out this and harden it, make it very secure so we can run KVM on the Nutanix and keep it hardened. So that's really where it was derived from. But it's up to you, whatever you want to run on that. Because really, as we get going up the stack, the important part for your data center, for your organization, are whether it's VMs, containers, it's the applications. It's your data. How is that being run? How is it efficient? And how is it helping benefit your business? So other people bring up, hey, you know what? I don't have a need for the data center today, right? Our primary data center is great, but we do have like a remote project going on. How does that work? And that's awesome. One of our biggest solutions is kind of a robo side. So whether it's a 2-node or 3-node or just for your remote offices, we have options for that as well. And it's still running the full native Nutanix platform. And you can integrate and replicate and manage it all from a single interface. See here. Yep. Also, DR side as well. So whether it's on-prem in your primary data center, robo sites, maybe a colo, maybe somewhere else. But one of the other pieces before we kind of keep going on is also one of our biggest pillars is security. So any replication, any data going back and forth within the sites, it's always encrypted in transit. We have the opportunity and ability to have encryption at rest, data encryption at rest. And then also other security features as well. Talking about us working with government agencies, security is a very big pillar on what we build out. So micro-segmentation is also another solution to help prevent anything going bad, east-west traffic within those VMs. So just from out of the gate, security hardened and ready to roll right away. As we get going on, talking about kind of a DR strategy. So again, we're just talking about the whole platform. This is all in our core Nutanix cloud infrastructure platform, is a DR side. Maybe you want to leverage your own data DR site. Maybe you want to leverage our DR as a service. So that can be run in our kind of quote unquote cloud or up in Azure or AWS as well. So you have options here. So at the same time, that security always encrypted in transit. Exactly what we're seeing here, kind of hard to read from the sign up here. DR, a lot of options. One of the biggest pieces too is, yep. So this is our core Nutanix cloud infrastructure. I already said that. A couple other big use cases I really want to highlight is unified storage. We call it, in the past, you might know it as files or object storage. It's all combined into one single Nutanix unified storage today. So whether you're looking to run files, which also has a very good security aspect to that with ransomware anomaly detection, and the ability to look into what is going on within those files and your clusters. Anything you want to add on there, Scott?
A couple of things on this particular screen. I think I could just talk about enough to get through. You talked about the at rest. There, another as well. The biggest differentiator, because there's a lot of companies that have unified storage file objects, big differentiator for us compared to some others that out of Instagram. So all there is really needs to turn this, then all of the storage or Nutanix database product, Central, which I was talking about, there are just tabs that are within that same. So it's not like maybe some others where you need another console difference else that you need to add on or that get licensing for it. You just buy the license, pops up and opens another tab and something that you already. So it makes it very, very easy.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for chiming in. We can probably highlight, there'll be another piece on that. And then also getting down to one of the biggest kind of things that are getting a lot of traction within a lot of our customers is our database services. And so, I mean, that's going from patching, copy data management, I mean, just overall scale. We have these customers that have said, hey, it took us a couple weeks if a new database or whatever was requested for our dev team. It takes a week to almost 2 weeks for them to get everything through the approval process, spun up, and out into their hands. It's gone from a week to 2 weeks down to a couple hours, just out of this pure database solution that is on our platform. So we also have a native Kubernetes engine as well that is on our platform that helps accelerate adoption of that as well. So that's one big thing. And then as Scott was talking about, our cloud manager. So all this stuff before is kind of our core Nutanix cloud infrastructure software. Now it's getting into, okay, keeping in mind that we're a software company, you can run your data wherever you'd like, right? So whether it's on premise or up in the cloud, all of it is the same management. You get the benefits of Nutanix, whether it's in AWS, Azure, or on-prem. So you can actually move your data, replicate it up to AWS, replicate it to Azure, and replicate it back down on-prem without having to go through, the cloud-native refactoring. We do that all within our technology.
That happens to the operating Nutanix Central in 2009. Ben was talking about developed an operating system, creates an extraction layer. So that's what these application workloads actually don't really realize or understand operating. They don't. So interdependencies, all that stuff, the lock-in, you can just move it around. And you still be still be within Azure or AWS, still have access to tools. But if you ever want to move those workloads else, you're not bound to that. Move it. Before we get too far away from the database service, a big use case for that is things that usually have a lot of different types of database. So an Oracle or SQL, but you may also be a MySQL, Mongo shop as well. So a lot of folks like looking at the database, able to automate that care and feed patch for those databases, so that their DBAs and folks can really automate other databases needed there, but they don't want to take all that.
Yeah. Any questions? Okay. Well, also, so thanks, Scott. That's a much better explanation than what I was going through. But the other piece too is looking at, okay, now we're in a hybrid multi-cloud scenario. And so clearly that little tag button went up, but we don't just provide, hey, here's the ability to move things around in the clouds. It's how can we run those workloads most efficient and most cost effective for the business. So we provide intelligence around all of the workloads, everything that's running up in Azure, AWS, and we'll say, hey, here's some insights that we're seeing. It's more effective to run it and cost effective to run it on-prem, or maybe it's better over in Azure or AWS. We help provide that insight to allow you to run and save money. In fact, we have a stat that I think is 15 to 50%, all dependent on what workloads you're running and each individual organization. But a cost savings of their cloud run rate 15 to 50% based on what you're doing. So there's actually a lot of good benefit from that. At the same time, a few of the things that people run into when they're just running cloud native is little things like micro waste, where a certain VM or workload doesn't fit into a certain category, so you have to go up, but it doesn't fill, and they're not using all those resources. By leveraging Nutanix, you get all of the dedupe, the compression, everything that comes efficiently with Nutanix and is automated. You get that benefit, so you're saving money when you're running Nutanix in the cloud as well. So just wanted to throw that out there because that's pretty important.
We actually have a service. They're talking about the
Yeah.
price tag deal. We have
Yep.
a service called cost governance. So even if you aren't anything wise, but you were like, these cloud costs. We have a service. And it even applies to well, so there would be the best.
Yeah.
Just like Ben said, the micro waste is where the money is saved when you go to the cloud sizes, whereas Nutanix bare metal nodes. So you're able to actually use the entire, kind of like almost going back to the days before virtualization. Now, bare metal server, use 20% of it. I see some smiles up there. and then you got to put on another application. Well, you put on another server. I want to use 70% of this server that I just put this in. Virtualization. That's what we do.
Yeah. And then as I kind of mentioned early on as well, our VDI side, that's still a massive, great use case. Inherently, we're just extremely efficient at it, and just with our architecture makes it a lot easier to kind of deploy as well. So Citrix, Horizon View, it all works well, and we work great with them. So let's see here. Yep, I mean, all of this, everything that you've seen, everything we've talked about is run through our single interface. We call it Prism. So that's really what it is on that side. Kind of getting through that whole journey of what Nutanix, where we came from. We still got some more stuff coming up. But any questions before we move on a little bit? Or we can wait till the end? All good? Okay. So here's a picture I like to show. This was a customer a couple of years back now, but we replaced everything on the left with everything on the right on Nutanix. Don't be fooled that those two servers are actually 4 servers within. So we didn't do that all within just 2 servers, but it really shows how efficient how efficient we are and can reduce your data center footprint from that side. I already hit on this. Any hardware, we're hardware agnostic. We're a software company, so whatever works best for your organization, we can run through on that. One of the other things we like to hit on, and Scott, I'll have you chime in if there's anything you feel would be added in here. But in terms of an ecosystem, we've been around since 2009. We've been working with a lot of partners and a lot of people here that other vendors are great partners of ours as well. So just announced a very big one with Cisco a couple months ago, which we're really excited about in terms of being able to integrate with them, but have already had partnerships with everybody up here as well and beyond. So anything I missed on that?
I think the only thing that I would add there is, as you were talking about beginning, founders of Nutanix wrote the GFS. So they were really very friendly type of platform. So, the open APIs and everything, whether you're looking into automation, Terraform, you want to see what SUSE has been able to offer into there, have the most APIs, most interoperable, just hardware, but the software operating system.
Yeah.
Than really anyone else.
Well, as you mentioned, us being very open, heck, you can, if you really want to dive into the weeds, we have a website dedicated that's kept up by our top developers and engineers called the Nutanix Bible, and you can just dive into exactly how everything works. So if you want to go to nutanixbible.com, you can learn anything you want to know about Nutanix. I got a couple other things I'll talk about a little later. But I think one of the other big things that we at Nutanix really pride ourselves on is our customer support. And really what it gets down to is that is everybody familiar with Net Promoter Score, NPS? Maybe you don't know the name, but you've probably gotten a survey, hey, on a scale of 0 to 10, what do you rank us? Or would you refer us to a friend or colleague? They're getting the Net Promoter Score. So we've had an over 90 Net Promoter Score for the last 7 years. Yeah. And that's just unheard of because the scale goes from negative 100 to positive 100. And to kind of put it in perspective, I mean, this is in general, if we get into the tech industry, I don't think many people are really above 35 or 40 in comparison to Nutanix. So I'm actually a little surprised on a couple of these. I didn't know. I would have thought Apple would be higher. And also I would have thought Nike would be too. But anyways, so really where it's at, we take pride in the NPS score, and having it consistently over 90 is really our support organization. You talk to anybody that's a customer, they'll say, hey, one of their favorite things is Nutanix's support, and we take a lot of pride, investment, and make sure that a customer, if there's anything going on, we're with them until the end, until it's resolved.
A couple of things before we get too far away from this. I mean, it's really what started Nutanix back in the day. We are in a completely different place. Nowadays, it wasn't working. Price grade is able to operate. Who in this room has ever paid their hopefully it's all hands.
I'm on camera, so.
Okay. So that's done on Nutanix. Who here has made a trade on NASDAQ? Okay, done on Nutanix. Who here has ever used an American exchange? That's all done on Nutanix. So if these organizations aren't enterprise, I don't know what is.
Yeah, no, anyway, that's a good point.
So I mean, 22,000 customers, but there's a whole mix, small, prototype, Walmart.
Yeah. Well, and I think Jordan always has a good statement for at least in the Minneapolis area from Bachman's to Best Buy, right? And the crazy part is everybody's running the same software. It's not like Best Buy is running something different than what Bachman's is. It's just the scale. It's just at what size. So I think that's a really, really cool thing from there. And then really getting down to it, why Nutanix? There's a couple of different things coming up, but I mean, customer choice. Most of the time you get locked in a lot of different architectures or scenarios, but really it's up to you. What do you want to run and how do you want to run it well? Really any workload, as Scott was highlighting, just even out of, is Nutanix enterprise grade? I mean, we can run anything and it's clearly showing with the customers that we have. And then modern design, when I see that, I think of, we were born in the cloud and that's kind of where it's at today. So I think Nutanix has been ahead of the curve for a long time. Basically being born in that, and that's what everybody's looking at. Simplicity, really, the thing that sticks out for me, and this is a quote from one of my engineers, is Nutanix takes things that are inherently complicated, so 3-tier and build out management, and make it simple and easy to do for organizations. So it opens up a lot of time for our customers and lets them focus on other business critical projects. And then support, again, we just hammered on that one, but we take a lot of pride in that, and customer experience with that is great. Another one of those is any solution is great when it's running and running well, but what's your experience when something goes bad, right? How do we get it fixed? How does it go on? And that's what we really take pride in is, all right, we're in a tough spot, but we're going to get you out of it and make sure it's a good experience. And then, I mean, just kind of recapping on this slide is really recapping that whole first build out slide. It doesn't matter where you're at in your journey, whether it's to the cloud or on premises or both, but you can fit in multiple different categories in which Nutanix can help out and hopefully, make your management of a multi-cloud or private cloud a lot more simple and work well for the organization. And we've talked a lot about this too. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to add or good to go?
No,
cool.
I think that's
Yeah. And then one of the other things too, we mentioned that we're very open with our technology. So go on nutanixbible.com and learn all about that. We also want to get you get your hands on seeing what it's all about. So you even nutanix.com/test drive, or even if you just go to nutanix.com, you'll see a big purple button that says test drive. We have a lot of different modules and labs that you can click in. You'll get your own demo system for a few hours at a time. You can follow the prompts to do whatever it is, or you can kind of kick that aside and just mess around with the cluster as well. So you can do that as many times as you'd like. You just go to our website and you can log in and go for it. Also have a lot of great information on YouTube, Nutanix University on YouTube. 3 to 5 minute clips that just get you into anything Nutanix, and you can go down a rabbit hole very quickly on that. But outside of that, I don't really have too much else to add in. I mean, Scott, did I miss anything? Or
I think these days, there's a lot of organizations that have either customers that are in a cloud journey, not everyone, and there's a couple of different stages. It's new and exciting, and then they could be in a little bit of a messy middle where maybe not working as much. Sometimes it's a little messier than others, right? Messy middle where it's like not exactly working how it is, or we did it, now costing 4 times more than what we had that was in our private data center. But you've already committed, you've already commitment that Professor Azure.
yeah.
Conversations that we have with these days is they're somewhere in that journey. And usually when they're coming to us, when their hair's on, and it's either got there, we are successful, way more expensive than when we were ever. We need a subscription-based station will be in this. Well, they're charging so much for their service. It's not like they can say, well, cloud thing costs more money, so rather than costing $37 a month, charge you $50. So helping customers to be able to leverage that, still be able to, or they're trying to figure out a way to and move something. Certainly understand all the inner maps. Something, and then the whole works back. Year or 2 years or now.
Yeah.
That's a majority of our conversation. And then I would say they're heavily. Look at his broadcast. They've even come out publicly and said our plan is to double EBITDA. Most of us in this room, we know that there's only 2 ways to double EBITDA. Getting rid of. And for revenue. So a lot of customers looking at us and saying, we're on Nutanix, how do we get off of where and or not on Nutanix? Biggest deals are completely if either of those are appealing or interesting or a part of your daily, then
Yeah.
Is that hit with anybody? Everyone's already off of VMware.
Yeah. Everybody's running Nutanix. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's about what I have. So maybe it is brisket time. I don't know. But any questions, that we can help with? Happy to chat through it. I mean, yeah. Raleigh, and well, it's kind of a follow the sun, but locally in the States, you'll be getting out of Raleigh or San Jose. So, I mean, if you're, 3 a.m., you might be getting Australia, I think is our other site, or
So yeah, we have a center in Asia Pac, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, you're going to get local support here. So,
That Net
Yeah.
Promoter Score is a really big consistent. And the Net Promoter Score isn't necessarily judged by what did you give us. It's what's the likelihood of you promoting Nutanix to a friend or coworker, whatnot. So it's actually even more to
yeah,
use that word than just individually.
yeah,
And to really lay it on the line and say, yeah, I would recommend here or my or
yeah. And I realized I was supposed to repeat the questions for the people online if anybody is. So the question was, where's the support located? So anybody listening online. All right.
great question.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
All right. We got about 9 minutes back to you. If you have any questions, and you want to come up and talk individually, let us know. And otherwise, yeah, thanks for attending.